It's 2026, and artificial intelligence isn't some far-off concept anymore. It's here, and it's being fueled by a massive amount of money, which is already changing our jobs and the technology we rely on every single day. So today, we're going to follow that money to understand exactly where all of this is headed. Let's start with the number that matters most. $2 trillion. That's the forecast for what the world will spend on AI in 2026. This isn't just a number, it's the economic force that is actively reshaping entire industries, the job market, and even global power dynamics. So, to make sense of this massive shift, we're going to connect the dots across four key areas. We'll start with the money, then look at the impact on the workforce, see how new rules are being written to manage it all, and finally get a glimpse of what's coming next on the tech frontier. All right, let's jump right in. To really understand the scale of what's happening, you have to follow the capital. And the numbers here, well, they're pretty staggering. According to the management consulting firm Gartner, spending on AI is set to jump by a huge 37% this year alone. So what's driving this incredible growth? It really comes down to two main things. First, building out the massive computing infrastructure needed to run AI. And second, integrating these AI capabilities deeper into the consumer devices we all use every day. And this spending isn't just an abstract forecast. We're seeing it in real-world corporate commitments. Take Workday, the enterprise software company. They just announced a $1 billion Canadian investment to expand their operations in Canada. And if you look at the very core of this technology, the computer chips, the chip maker TSMC projects its revenue from AI chips will grow by more than 50% year after year, all the way through 2029. So a natural question is, where does all of that money actually go? Well, a lot of it flows directly into the labor market, and what that's doing is creating a huge wave of both job displacement and, at the same time, brand new opportunities. Let's look at the numbers. In 2025, 245,000 tech jobs were cut globally. And according to Information Week, AI was cited as a direct cause for nearly 55,000 of those layoffs right here in the United States. This is the disruptive side of the equation, and it's affecting real people. But then you have the other side of the story. A recent analysis from Randstad found that job postings that require what they call AI agent skills, which is basically the ability to manage and direct AI systems, surged by over 1,500% just last year. That number really highlights the incredible speed of this change. And this is creating entirely new job categories seemingly out of thin air. For example, demand for AI trainers, people who actually teach AI models, jumped by 247%. And demand for prompt engineers who specialize in communicating with AI, that surged over 400%. We're talking about careers that just a few years ago barely even existed. But how do employees actually feel about all this? Well, a major survey of 27,000 people reveals a pretty deep skepticism. Nearly half of them believe that AI benefits their company far more than it benefits them personally. And that signals a really big challenge for businesses trying to manage this transition. In response to that sentiment, you hear corporate leaders framing this shift not as a replacement of workers, but as an augmentation. The stated goal, as you can see in this quote, is to use AI to handle the more routine work, which, in theory, frees up people for the kind of tasks that still require a uniquely human touch. Now, whenever you have this level of economic and social disruption, it's inevitable that governments are going to step in. So let's look at the bigger picture here. A new global rulebook for AI is literally being written in real time, and it comes with some significant geopolitical consequences. Take this, for example. On January 14th, the Trump administration put in place a 25% tariff on certain kinds of advanced computing chips. The official reason given was to reduce national security risks that come from relying too heavily on foreign supply chains for these absolutely critical components. That tariff is just one piece of what's become a very fractured global regulatory puzzle. You've got the European Union taking a top-down, risk-based approach with its big AI Act. But the US is a very different story. It's more of a patchwork. You have strong state laws in places like California and Colorado that focus on consumer rights, and those are clashing with a federal push for a lighter, more business-friendly national standard. So here's the crucial point. While governments are busy debating all the rules, the technology itself is just accelerating. It's moving out of the purely digital world and into our physical world in some very, very tangible ways. At the big CES Tech Showcase this month, we saw Boston Dynamics, which is owned by Hyundai, give the first public demonstration of their humanoid robot, Atlas. This robot is actually designed for manufacturing work, and it's scheduled to be deployed in Hyundai's U.S. auto plants as early as 2028. Now, in the consumer world, all eyes are on Apple. Industry rumors are pointing to a whole wave of new hardware, everything from a foldable iPhone to a redesigned MacBook Pro. And the key thing that connects all of these potential new products is a deep integration of next-generation AI, which will be powered by new, much more powerful computer chips. And what's fueling this big hardware push is a major new partnership. Apple has now signed a multi-year deal to integrate Google's powerful Gemini AI models directly into its operating systems. This is the deal that's expected to power a much more capable Siri and bring new Apple Intelligence features to devices later this year. But beyond the kind of AI we know today, there's a breakthrough on the deep science frontier that could unlock the next era of computation entirely, and it's in a field called quantum simulation. Here's why this matters. Researchers at IBM recently showed that even today's early-stage, somewhat noisy quantum computers can reliably simulate highly complex quantum physics. This is a big deal because it proves these machines can be trustworthy scientific tools long before we ever get to fully fault-tolerant quantum computers. So as we see trillions of dollars being invested, a workforce in the middle of a massive transition, and technology leaping from the lab into our factories and our pockets, the landscape is reshaping faster than ever. It all leaves us with a critical question. Are we building a future of unprecedented opportunity or one filled with unforeseen challenges? Stay with Winning News for what's next.